I'm going to be talking about Mexico. So I'm actually half Mexican. My mother's Mexican. So one of the interesting things I think about Mexican or most Latin cultures is every culture has their own kind of unique thing. Like Cubans, for example, they eat a lot of plátanos, which are like a banana. Salvadorians do pupusas. And then Colombians do empanadas. So every culture kind of has their thing. And then Mexicans obviously have things like tamales, churros, different things like that. I know a little more obviously about the Mexican side, my mother being Mexican. So one of the interesting things I think about Mexican culture is typically as Mexicans, I remember eating lots of spicy food growing up. I remember being a little boy and my mom, she'd get like a little spoon and she'd fill it with chili and we'd eat it, literally just straight up chili. And so now, as I'm an adult in my 30s, I can handle a pretty high level of spice tolerance. Although Indian food, that's just on a different level. I remember one time I had something, it was from an Indian place, it was like medium, and my mouth was on fire. Like, it was like, this is medium? This is insane. So I can't compete with the Indians out there. That's a different level. But as far as most Latins go, I can handle pretty much anything Latin related, considering it spicy. I can handle it. So I thought other Latin cultures ate spicy too, but it wasn't really until I was an adult I found out like, oh, you guys don't eat spicy food? So it's really just a Mexican thing. Another interesting thing too is tortillas, like how I was taught to make tortillas as a child. It's really funny because like, so a lot of people, how I see them make tortillas, they'll put it like on a pan over the stove and they use the pan to kind of make the tortilla, which I guess that's common. But how I was taught to do it, I would stick my fingers over an open flame. So how it would work is, imagine here is the, let's do this. So here's the little, what's it called, on the stove. Some of them have those little fingers, and then in the center you have this hot part that heats up where the little fire comes out, right? So this heats up. So how I would do the tortilla, I'd put the tortilla with my hand like this, and then with my hand I'd flip it. So my hand was over the open flame. There was no real barrier between my hand and the flame. And so I kind of got good at that because I would learn to flip it really quick. And it's really funny because I remember seeing other people do it with a pan. And I'm like, wait, why are you doing that? And it's like, well, that's how you make them. I'm like, that's how you make a tortilla. You put it over the open fire. But I think that's a Mexican thing. But you know, I could be wrong. If you're from another culture, Latin related, do you do that? Because I realize other Spanish cultures don't do that. I did that just because that's what I was taught. So those are some of the fun nuances that we have in the Mexican culture, being half. I'm only half. So one of the interesting things that I've noticed is most Mexicans love Modelo. This is like the beer of Mexicans, Modelo. Let me show you guys this drink. I feel like I'm advertising for Modelo, like spinning it around all slow. So this is Modelo. So obviously beer is a big thing in the Mexican culture. I remember when I went to Mexico one time, there was just beer everywhere. Beer is like, I felt like beer was more common than water. It was like, you have beer with this, beer with that. Mexicans love beer. That's kind of like the staple drink. Like Italians love their wine, Mexicans love beer. It's just the thing. So Modelo's a very popular brand. I believe Modelo is made in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. So I got this one here in America. This one is mango, and it says mango y chile, so mango and chili. So even inside these liquor stores, there's a lot of different variants of just Modelo. But it's real common. Like I remember when I would do some work in Beverly Hills, it'd be very common to see some of the Mexicans when they'd get off their shifts. A lot of them would work at restaurants, do construction in the area. You would see them after their shifts in the liquor store or at the CVS or 7-Eleven, whatever, buying Modelos as the shift ended. So it was a very common thing to see that. So Modelo's, beer is a big part of the Mexican culture. So again, some of the common foods in the Mexican culture, I got some here. This was from a little taco truck. So this is a tostada. Let's see if I can put that up for you guys. That's a tostada. So what tostadas typically are, typically there's like a tortilla at the bottom. It's usually fried. I don't know if you can see the tortilla kind of hiding out in there. The brown part down there, you can kind of see that's a tortilla. I'll probably break this apart and get a fork just to show you all what it looks like. And then you usually top it with different things. So this one has This looks like there's rice, I think. Or no rice on this one. So this one has chicken, lettuce, tomato, cheese, and I think this is some type of sour cream. But this is a very common thing, a tostada. Again, I don't know if other Spanish cultures eat tostadas. Actually, let me ask the representative of the audience, the Miss Catherine, the lady filming here. She's Colombian. Do you guys have tostadas?
Tostadas for us look different. So we have a bread like this square type, and you put it on the toaster, and it becomes hard, and that's a tostada.
So tostadas for Colombians, you get bread and you
Toast it.
You put it in a toaster?
Yeah.
And then what do you put on? What are your toppings?
Like cream cheese and like meat on top of it.
That's not a tostada. That's a sandwich.
No.
That's what you consider a tostada?
Yeah, because you only have one piece on the bottom.
Oh, okay. So you put one piece.
Yeah, it's just one.
Oh, okay.
So just one piece of hard bread on the bottom.
So wait a minute. It's a piece of bread toasted
Yeah.
with cheese, avocado, and toppings.
No, just cream cheese and like either turkey or whoever likes ham. Or
So let me understand. So
egg.
for Colombians, you'll do a piece of bread, you toast it, you'll put avocado, cheese, and like turkey.
Cream cheese.
Cream cheese, avocado, and like chicken.
That's it.
That's a sandwich.
No, it's
To
not.
me, I consider that a sandwich.
No, because you put like two toppings. You either put cream cheese or turkey, or you put cream cheese and like a fried egg.
Okay, so
Or
let me
you
ask you a
put-
question. Okay, I'm going to
Okay.
give you a hypothetical. This
Okay.
will be fun. So if that's true, and you put another piece of bread on top, does it
Then
become
it
a sandwich?
becomes a sandwich.
Okay, because if you put another fried tortilla on top of this, it's still a tostada.
Oh.
Because
not
you
fried.
wouldn't consider that a sandwich, would you?
A tostada sandwich? Would you?
No, I would just be like it's a tostada layered. I wouldn't
Okay.
consider that a sandwich. But I guess, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section
Yeah.
below before we fight over cultures, because I was like, that is a sandwich any day of the week. But again, I'm biased. I'm coming from a half Mexican standpoint. So,
Right.
okay, so that's interesting. So, thank you, representative of the audience, for
You're
representing
welcome.
your country.
Very welcome.
So, one of the other things too in Mexican culture that Mexicans love to eat, and I'm sure you've seen these are quesadillas. So these are quesadillas. So obviously the quesadilla is a tortilla, and they'll put cheese in the center. I like to do vegan cheese. They'll put different kinds of meats like chicken, beef, and usually that's pretty it. It's pretty much a quesadilla. Queso means cheese in Spanish. So it's pretty much a tortilla with cheese, and then sometimes they'll put other toppings in between. Usually it's a meat or a chicken, or they even have like vegan chicken, vegan beef now. It's popular. But that's pretty much a quesadilla. It's really simple. It's cheese, tortilla, and some type of a protein. Or many don't even put a protein. It's just that. So it's a pretty basic thing. Some of the other things in the Mexican culture, and I was hoping to get one to show you, is a churro. So you know what I could do here? As she's doing that, let me pull this up, because I was looking for a place to sell churros. It's a little bit late at night, so I wasn't able to find one. But let me show you guys what a churro looks like. Because churros, so representative of the audience, being from Colombia, what are churros like for you, or do you have churros?
We do have churros, but they're completely different. than
Describe your
Mexico.
churro. So,
They're round. They look more like a donut,
okay.
and they have a little glaze on top, and they have sugar sprinkled all over, like all over the churro.
So it doesn't look like the Mexican churros where they're really
No,
long?
not at all. We don't have that.
So for Mexican churros, that's typically what they look like. It's usually a piece of dough fried. They dip it in cinnamon. I don't know if they use milk as the base, but usually it's like a sweetbread. You can find these at lots of parks. I was at Long Beach Aquarium recently, and there was some ladies there selling churros. But yeah, that's kind of what they look like. Let me maybe see if I could get you another picture, a little bigger. Yeah, this is typically what they look like. Here we go. That looks real traditional right there. That's typically a churro. It's a long kind of fried piece of bread. Able to get that?
Yes.
So that's what a churro typically looks like. Again, and that's a very popular Mexican I guess, I don't know. Let me know if what culture you're from. If you're a Latin American culture, do you have churros? And if you do, what do your churros look like? Because maybe you have your own variant, your own style from where you're from. But at least the churros I grew up with, that's what I'm used to. They're typically long, or anywhere from 6 inches to maybe like 12 or so. It's usually it's fried and it's got sugar on it. Usually you put cinnamon and they'll put sugar on top, but that's a real popular Mexican dish. Another real popular thing that we have, if I could show you, I'll pull it up, is raspadas. Do you guys have raspadas?
We do have raspados.
You call it, I'm probably saying it wrong. Is it raspados or raspadas?
We call them raspados.
Okay. What are yours like?
So they're shaved ice. People walk in these carts with like blocks of ice. Then they shave the ice and they put like different like toppings. Usually like some like watery toppings like watermelon, lime, bubble gum, strawberry.
Okay, so it is similar then.
I think so.
So maybe they're not different.
No.
So
but we put fruit in it.
Right. Okay, so that sounds about right. So that's what a raspado looks like.
Right.
So it's typically like so what these guys do is they carry big blocks of ice. And I'm trying to see if I can get you an image of it, but it's usually a big block of ice, probably could be sometimes half the size of this table. And they have an ice scraper. They scrape the ice down, they put it in a cup, and then they'll put milk, fruit, different types of toppings on it.
Right.
And they're real popular. As a little boy, I remember we used to call it the paleta, man. So a paleta is like an ice cream. Like a palo means a stick. So paleta is like ice cream on a stick. And so they would come in the neighborhood. I grew up in a Spanish neighborhood as a little boy, and like they'd ring a bell, and we'd all run to the front of the paleta man is here. And then they'd have different ice creams, and that was a very big cultural thing. And where the city I grew up in was in San Fernando, so it's a very Mexican-dominated community. So I grew up with that. So the paleta man, these little guys come around in carts, and in their carts they have different kind of ice creams. It's basically the ice cream man, but they do it in carts, and they ring a little bell. And same with the raspados, is they come around, they got this big block of ice, they scrape off the ice, they put it in a cup, and then they put the different types of toppings on it. I remember being a little boy, and coconut was probably my favorite type of raspado. And I also enjoyed coconut ice cream bars. It's funny because earlier today I was doing some filming at a Thailand spot, and I love coconut. So maybe come to think of it, it's because I grew up eating that as a kid. I didn't just made the correlation, like I grew up eating that. So I like coconut, even coconut water. So that's kind of my thing. So churros, raspados, tamales are another big one. So do you guys have tamales from Colombia? What are your tamales like?
It depends on the region that you're from.
Okay.
They have different tamales.
Okay.
They look, those money pouches that you get on like characters or like movies.
Money pouches?
Yeah, the ones that look like a bag.
Okay.
That's kind of like what ours look like, and they're wrapped.
A tamale?
Yes. Yours look more like a pocket.
Okay, you're Colombian, so let me look up and see.
Tamal colombiano.
Okay, 1 second.
And you're probably gonna have tolimense, which is a part of like Colombia, which is called Tolima, and they're like or tamales from there. Region.
Wow, that is weird.
So good.
Okay, so let me show. Is that right? Is that accurate or no?
Not from Tolima, but those are tamales.
So those are tamales for the Colombians.
Yes.
That is so different. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a square box. Okay. Because I'll show you all what tamales look like in, I guess, the Mexican culture. This is the tamales I grew up with, or what I'm used to. Amazon trying to sell me stuff. I'm not interested. Yeah, here. So those are the tamales that I grew up with as a kid. So what it is, it's the corn husk. You use that as like a leaf, kind of like how the Filipinos will use banana leaves.
Okay.
You use the masa, which you kind of have to beat it. It's kind of like a dough.
Okay.
You gotta like beat it and get it to a certain level. You spread the masa on the corn husk, and then you put your, usually it's chicken, beef, you could do cheese, you could just do some without anything, you could just have it just with the masa, and that's kind of how it is. And then they're real popular, but they're almost like little burritos. You just peel off the corn husk, and then they're ready to eat. So they're not necessarily square. They're more of like a little rectangle shape. At least the ones that I grew up with. So tamales are a big thing. Raspados, churros. Like I showed you here earlier, the quesadilla. Quesadilla is such a big,
Staple.
yeah. I mean, you can go to even like Americanized, supposedly Mexican, like Taco Bell, and you're gonna find quesadillas, but you're not gonna find tamales at Taco Bell or Del Taco.
Right.
And then tostadas are probably another big one that you can find almost anywhere. Again, I'll show you all. You know what? Do I have a fork?
Do you?
I would love to show you. Give me 1 second, guys. Keep it rolling. Let me see if I have a fork to show them, because I'll break it down. Kind of show them what it looks like. So I don't have a fork, but I'll use the next best thing, a piece of cardboard. This is just because I don't want to stick my hands in here and get it all dirty for you all. But I kind of want to show you what the inside looks like. So this is the, okay, so here we go. So this tostada has beans, chicken, tomatoes, lettuce, cheese, and sour cream. So we can obviously see that there. Put that there. But that's kind of what I wanted you to see on the inside. You see you've got this tortilla.
Okay.
And it's usually fried. So this is a little soggy because I bought it earlier. But usually the tortilla is very hard, and it's like a hard, for lack of a better term, it's like the bread and it's the base, and you just eat it as is. So that's kind of what a tostada is. Here we go. So the representative of the audience. So interesting. So that's what a Colombian tamale looks like.
Yes. Let me zoom that in. So that's what they look like.
Okay, so that's a Colombian tostada.
No, Colombian tamale.
I'm sorry. Colombian tamale.
Yes.
I've never seen that before. So what's inside of yours?
So they put like chicken, pork, potatoes.
Do you have a
yuca.
masa or no masa?
Yeah, there's masa.
Oh, so you do masa.
You put all the ingredients first, like you cook them, and then you throw them in the middle, and then you put the masa.
At the end?
At the end, and then you wrap them. And then you cook them in something in a style that is called Baño de María.
Bath of Mary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which means that you put a big old pot, and then you put like a metal plate on the bottom, and you fill it up with water, and then you put everything. So you kind of like steam them inside the water, but you let the water like
interesting
kind of circulate. But you don't put them on the bottom of it because then the water doesn't circulate and it burns them.
Okay.
And you just let them cook for hours.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe I'm going to have to title this video Mexican and Colombian culture, because half of it is now about how, but that's interesting. Because again, I think it's kind of interesting as I've been doing these videos and learning about cultures. It's kind of interesting where I see how other cultures have their own variants of whatever. Like I went to a Middle Eastern market and there was so many different variants. Like everyone has their own variant of like a kebab, and everybody swears theirs was the first one. But it's like it's all shared. So at one point I wonder who shared what with who took what, how was it mixed. I guess some things you don't really know. But regardless, I think that's really, really interesting. So I'm gonna read you all some facts about Mexico just because I think it's kind of cool to know. According to some sources, it says Mexico introduced chocolate, chilies, and corn to the world. Now what's really interesting, I know with corn, in Mexico right now, they banned corn from the US. They will not allow GMO corn from America in Mexico. That's because GMO corn cannot, the GMO crop will destroy organic, and it can't naturally grow on its own. They manipulate the seed to kind of control the food supply. So Mexico banned, which is good, they banned US corn. So there's no GMO, from what I understand, there's no GMO corn in Mexico. So and I can understand that. Also too, I remember growing up, seeing, so the corn here typically in America, it's the yellow or white corn, but I remember as a child seeing corn but with different colors in the corn. So like some of the corn was black on the same corn cob. Some was black, some was purple, some was red. I see the representative agreeing. Do you guys have something like that?
Yeah, we do.
So you have corn with different colors?
Yeah, I've seen, I mean, I might be ignorant about the other ones, but I remember in my childhood seeing like the ones that are purple, like randomly throughout the corn.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me see if I could get you all a picture. It's the beautiful thing with the internet. When you can't always get the items, you can... Yeah, so these are what I remember seeing as a child. So look at how the corn has all these different colors.
Oh.
You seen those?
I've never seen those.
Yeah, that's what I remember seeing.
Wow.
So it's the corn cob, but with different colors.
Wow.
So you never saw those?
No.
Even till now, you just saw first time seeing it?
No, it's my first time seeing them.
Really? Yeah. Interesting,
I
huh?
have like 2 or 3 on the cob, but not to that extent.
Yeah, look at that one. That's what
wow.
That's what they look like. That's what I remember seeing as a kid.
Oh yeah, that's different. Have you guys seen any of these?
Let us know in the comments below where you're from. Have you seen corn like this?
Also, where are they popular too? Because I'm sure there has to be some regions that have it more than others.
I'm not sure, but that would be a fun question to ask. We had another dish too. I don't remember the name of it now. It's just funny. I grew up with my grandmother who was Mexican, but it was like this little bowl, and we'd use it to pound and make things out of. It was like a rock.
Yes.
What is that called? Yeah, I'm trying to.
Nosotros le decimos la piedra de machacar.
Yeah, with the rock.
Yes.
But I can't think of what it's called. But I'm trying to get you all a picture. Please bear with me. It's terrible. I'm over here doing a video and I don't even know the names of these things.
Yeah, piedra
Here it
de
is.
machacar.
So it's called a Mexican molcajete.
Oh yeah, molcajete.
How do you say it?
Molcajete.
Molcajete. That's what it looks like, guys.
Yes.
So I remember growing up, my grandmother having those in the house as a boy, and that's what I remember growing up with. And I remember she'd beat certain things in there, like if she wanted to make
garlic.
Yeah, like different herbs. So here in America, like if you want to mix your garlic, or you usually chop it up, or what Americans will do is they put it in a bag, and they'll just get like some kind of beater and they beat it in a bag. But in the Spanish culture, at least Mexican growing up, and let me see, there's a better one for them to see. Here we go. Get that one so they can see it.
Oh, that's much better.
So yeah, so you have whatever your condiments are, and you use that little rock to beat it. So molcajete.
Okay.
So I'm glad. So that's what you would have. You'd have guacamole in it. That was a real popular thing, to put guacamole. So if you want to beat your avocado and your tomato and make your lemon, you put it in there and smash it up, and then your salsa is ready to go. That's a big thing too, salsa.
Wow.
Love salsa. So one of the other interesting things too about the Mexican culture, you often find, so I got this at a food truck, finding these kind of drinks, these different types of sodas and things, and I noticed a lot of them come in glass. Even earlier, I was at Walmart, and it was pointed out to me there was a Coca-Cola and a Sprite from Mexico, but they come in glass bottles, so they're a little different than even the ones here. And I've been told they even taste different. And I don't know if that's necessarily because of the glass, or because in Mexico, the sugars and things like that are probably going to be different. So even though it's the same ingredients, your sugar in Mexico is not going to necessarily be the same as your sugar here in the US. So there's variants of it where it's different, but most Mexican places I've been to that I've seen, a lot of them do have glass as, they have glass, not necessarily plastic. One of the fun things I kind of have here, I saw this at Walmart, and this is just a cup. So this is kind of cool. So this cup has different things about the state of California. And so I was going to talk about this and make it its own thing. But, California used to be a part of Mexico. So I'm going to read you all a quick fact about that from my notes. I thought this was kind of cool. Let me see if I can get it. This is a fun fact I'll read real quick. It says Mexico has, according to this, about 5,000 different types of tamales. 5,000. That's kind of hard for me to believe, because how could you make 5,000 different variants? So, I mean, I guess if everyone's got a couple hundred in their own region, there would be tons of different types of tamales even within one country. So that's kind of hard for me to believe, but I mean, I'm used to just the 4 basic ones, but maybe that's true. let me know if you're from Mexico. Is there that many kind, and what comes in your types of tamales? I mean tamales. Yeah, tamales. I was looking up California. Trying to find my note here, guys. So sorry. To Mexico. So California used to be a part of Mexico, but it says the man who delivered California. How much of California belonged to Mexico? Okay, it says following the Mexican War of Independence, it became a territory of Mexico in April 1882, and was renamed Alta California. That's why it's kind of funny. If you actually come to California to visit, there's a lot of names that still have Spanish names on them, like San Jose, right? San Juan. You know, these are Spanish names. They're not American names. So even in the names, it's got it kind of here. You know, Santa Barbara. Okay, that's a Spanish name. So we have so many areas where, like, you can even come now, even in the San Fernando, certain communities you go, nobody there speaks a drop of English. I'm exaggerating, but you can go, and there's communities where literally everything is in Spanish. You go there, like when I went to Mexico, there's all these street vendors. There's certain parts you can go to now in the San Fernando Valley, especially like Pacoima, San Fernando, Lakeview Terrace, Panorama City, and people have shops set up outside of their house where they got their clothing set up. They've got little street vendors, the little paleta people riding around their carts. It's almost like being in Mexico. You could go there and literally experience Mexico just going to California. So here we go. I got some notes here. Yeah, it says, why did Mexico give up California? It says, return for $15 million and the assumption of Mexican debts to Americans, Mexico gave up its hold over New Mexico and California. The enormous territory included present-day California, Nevada, Utah, and parts of Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Wyoming. So at one point, all of that was Mexican. It was not U.S. So it's really interesting to think that a large part of the U.S. one time was Mexico. And that's probably why you see certain parts like Arizona, Texas, California still dominated by Mexican culture. It's still a very prevalent theme here. But yeah, that's kind of a summary. Please let me know what country you're from, whether it's Latin, European, wherever. And let me know something interesting about your culture in the comment section below. I hope you all enjoyed this. Sorry I wasn't able to get all the different items, but I was able to Google show you. Maybe if I get enough views, I'll do another one, but with more of the items, because sometimes they're hard to get, especially when you're doing it on the fly. But I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.